action, the governor has called in additional troops.
We believe one of them looks like this.
They're just not civilized.
They are heavily armed with fruit.
I'd like to tell you the situation is under control, but it isn't.
Most people have heard of Donkey Kong, like the arcade game Donkey Kong. These games are not that. They're different from that. So Donkey Kong was made in Japan by Shigeru Miyamoto. He's the guy who made Mario and did all the Mario Bros. Stuff. He's still active. He's still doing all that stuff, but he's working on the Mario games. In the 90s, in the time of the Super Nintendo, Nintendo wanted to revive the Donkey Kong franchise and sort of give it a new life, because Donkey Kong in the Donkey Kong original arcade and like Donkey Kong Jr. and stuff was actually the villain and Mario was the good guy. But they wanted to make a game that starred Donkey Kong as the main character. So they went to Rareware, which is a British company, and they had them make a reboot of Donkey Kong. And so they came up with Donkey Kong Country. And it's also the first game I've speedrun. And that speedrun took me about 12 hours, my first run of this. And the thing about a speedrun is that pretty much it doesn't matter how fast you're going if you're just competing with yourself, but the general rule is you have to do it in one sitting. The world record sits around 5.5 hours right now. While you might be thinking that that might not sound very speedy, why am I calling it a speedrun? There's actually a lot of diversity to what a speedrun can be and what you can make out of it yourself. It's not always about beating world records. In speedrunning, you're very often just competing with yourself, similar to a runner will try and get their personal records. That's a lot of what speedrunning is too. Donkey Kong in particular was, I don't know, something about him really clicked with me. I mean, many people who know me as like, I'm obsessed with like monkeys or whatever. That's what, like when I was in elementary school, like I was just the monkey kid. But I don't think a lot of people realize that I think it was passively because of Donkey Kong. It wasn't vice versa. I was just like, I really liked these characters. It was kind of like, I mean, kids like cartoon characters. I mean, I liked SpongeBob and stuff too, and you just consider that if you're growing up with a familiar face like that, that's like a zany cartoon character, they click with you, and that's what Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong did for me. Diddy Kong was my favorite always. He's still my favorite. Music is a very large part of my life, since my dad is a musician. I played trombone. I've played it for the last like 15 years, I guess, at this point. Started in 4th grade. Lanky Kong from Donkey Kong 64 is the reason that I play trombone. And I specifically remember because I was gonna play drums because my dad told me that he played drums in school, so I was like, oh, I'll do that. And I remember like going up to my dad and being like, Dad, I don't want to disappoint you, but I've decided not to pursue percussion in 4th grade. I'm gonna play trombone. So during the first hour, all spirits were high. I was thinking like, there's no way this could possibly take 12 hours. Then I started getting into the later hours where the mental taxing sort of comes into play. And also keep in mind, so at the beginning of the stream, there weren't that many people watching. It was this feeling of sort of like preemptive exhaustion. So I wasn't tired yet, but I was looking ahead like, oh my gosh. And it's a really bad sort of mentality to get into because you end up wasting the energy that you have early on. And especially in a game like this where it's like, there's really, usually in speedruns, you'll have like cutscenes or some certain points in the game where you can sort of like take a breather, like eat a snack or something if it's a long thing. This game only really has one good time for that, and it's toward the end. And so I had like my Cliff Bar, and I had all my water and stuff. I mean, I was drinking water the whole time, but like I had like my snack break ready. And by the time I got to that, I was like, oh man, I'm so ready for this. And I ended up taking like more time than like the cutscene. And I was at that point, it's like, I don't even care. You're gonna stand there and wait for me while I finish eating this banana. I chose a banana specifically because I was playing Donkey Kong. I was like, this would be good. The viewers will like this, all 10 of them. Actually, the world record holder at the time came into the stream too, and he was helping me out with some stuff. And like anytime I was having trouble with the tricks and stuff, and that's another really nice thing about the speedrunning is just the communities that you find yourself in. It's like everybody always wants to help each other, especially because it's like it's pretty well known who the world record holders are gonna be, like who it's gonna be between. So for the rest of us, it's just fun, and it's like, I mean, we help each other learn the beginner stuff, and you still have to be good at it. It's not like just teaching somebody how to do the trick suddenly means that you're helping them beat your record, like, because that's not really what it's about. When I finally slapped that space bar to finish my timer, it's a good feeling, because it was not only the end of a 12-hour commitment that I was painstakingly finishing, but it was also the first time I finished a speedrun, and it was also the first time I finished a stream. It's sort of become like part of my identity almost, like literally just being a Donkey Kong lore expert, I guess. It's kind of a joke, but it's also like, if you know me, like it's also not a joke. Like, it's not like it like takes over my life. I mean, it does. It took over 12 hours of an entire day, but it's not like it. I don't think it changes other aspects about me, like to a point where it's like, well, that guy's weird. Okay, that's also not true. People think that. But what I'm saying is that like I can make this a huge part of my life without it being my entire life, and I'm very happy to be able to do that. The plot is that Donkey Kong was captured, so Diddy Kong has to save him, and so he brings Dixie Kong along, who basically replaces Diddy Kong, but Diddy Kong replaces Donkey Kong. Because in the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, there's 2 Kongs per game. So it's Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong is the first one. The second one is Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong. And the third one is Dixie Kong and Diddy Kong. But we don't talk about the third one. So it's actually not a bad game. But we don't talk about it.